Not even
And
close.
I don't normally make bold predictions.
You're going
If she stays at this rate, she will be the MVP.
Ooh. All right.
A little bold, but
All right.
I'm going with it.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Raising the Game, a women's sports podcast covering primetime performers, the business behind the athletes in the leagues, and what the growth of women's sports means for the next generation of women's athletes.
I'm starting to lose track of the episodes. I almost said episode 22, but this is
I don't even know
episode
anymore.
23.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Maya Moore.
Let's get that right.
Well, he had it first.
Yeah.
And she's also the GOAT. So.
Yeah, that's true. We have got some major moves in the PWHL to talk about.
So many things happening. We were consuming this
as we're
rapid fire over the last couple of days as we completed phases 1 and 2 of the expansion process.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about it. We also have WNBA. We're partway through Commissioner's Cup action.
Yes.
And we're going to just talk about kind of the standings right now as they are.
Yeah, we're going to get into standings. We're going to get into a little bit of we're quarter of the way, close to a third of the way through. How do we think things are going to shake out the rest of the season?
And then saving the best for last. Your favorite team dropped one this weekend, but we'll talk about it.
We will.
The U.S. Women's National Team, by the way. Much
to say. So we'll get into that a little bit later in the show.
All right. Should we do favorite thing?
We shall. I have 2.
Okay. Go for it.
Well, maybe 3-ish, but 2 specific instances. So one, Alex will probably mention this too, but we went to the Lynx game this past week against the Valkyries. It's a great game. But before the game, we were at a sports bar near Target Center, and we were just getting some beers and some food, and the local professional men's baseball team, the Minnesota Twins, is playing down the street. They are actively playing. But you turn and you look into the sports bar, and on all of the big screen TVs is the Indiana Fever Atlanta Dream game that was on. And I was so stoked to see they were prioritizing kind of the screen space of all the different baseball games that could have been on. There were, that was probably the main other thing that was on at the time. They chose to have that game on in prime time. So
it was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then the second one was when we were at the game, we took some pictures. And we sent them to my mom, who was watching the kids. And both of our girls apparently responded with hey, that's Olivia Miles. So 2 things. Olivia Miles has rapidly become their favorite player.
Yeah, absolutely.
But 2, I love that our girls just recognize professional women's athletes. And can pick them out of a lineup.
Yeah, totally.
And enjoy kind of calling out that they know them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mine was, and I think this has happened a couple times, but you were coaching our eldest daughter's soccer game, and they did not shoot at all. They didn't really score.
You gotta be honest, they were bad.
But their passing was so amazing, and I think at one point one of the parents commented that you have taught them more in footwork, their daughter more in footwork than anyone so far. And I think it was just cool to see kind of you in that your natural coaching habitat. And the parents are giving you compliments, and it's just so fun to see you being able to teach these young girls the sport, and you're really good at it. So that's my favorite thing.
That's really nice, honey.
Yeah.
Thank you. They are knuckleheads, but I have a lot of fun with them. This week. Kind of sad that it's
it is. All right, should we get into these headlines?
Let's dive in.
All right, U.S. Women's National Team falls 2-1 in Brazil in first of 2 friendlies in the 2027 World Cup host nation.
And main highlight I'll put out here, and then I got a lot to say about this game. But Sophia Wilson scores her first international goal back from her maternity leave, her pregnancy leave. which is great to see. And I think carryover of the form we've seen from her so far at NWSL since she's returned.
Absolutely. Washington Spirit home Audi Field named the 2026 NWSL championship venue.
So if Washington can qualify, they can have a home game for a chip.
Two-time Balloon d'Or winner Alexia Putellas reported to have agreed to personal terms with the London City Lionesses, according to The Guardian.
Yeah, so we talked about this last week, right? That she had said goodbye, adios to Barcelona after 14 years. So this is a big report. I haven't seen anything beyond this that's confirmed it. There's no terms yet or anything like that. But we will be watching that summer international transfer window opens next week on the 18th. And so there's potential for movement all around, right? But London City Lionesses, if they pick her up, that's a huge get for them. They just had moved up to the WSL this last season. Michelle Kang is one of the owners there, also the owner of the Washington Spirit and Lyon. And so it makes sense, right, that she has some investment there and really like values these high value players.
First two phases of PWHL expansion and re-signing offers drama and excitement as we complete existing team player protection and expansion team early stage roster building.
Yeah, we'll get into this more. Teams still seem to be in the dark on actually how the draft is going to go down next week, but we have a lot to complete before then that we'll talk about today.
Nelly Korda holds off late challengers, wins the 81st U.S. Women's Open at the Riviera Country Club.
Our kids were really into this on Sunday. We watched maybe half of the final round.
That last putt was...
but this gives Korda her second consecutive major victory. And then we had talked about this statistic a little bit earlier in the year that she had finished first or second in every tournament that she had been in. She has now finished first or second in 7 of 8 tournaments she's entered this year.
Wow.
So only one was she outside of 1 or 2 spots. So one of the most dominant starts to a season that we've seen in a long time in the LPGA Tour.
Yeah. All right. Pray for me on this one with a few of these names. 19-year-old Mira Andreeva wins French Open over qualifier Maya Havlinska, becoming the youngest champion in Paris since Steffi Graf in 1992.
Yeah, so this was a little bit of a shock, I think. Sabalenka was knocked out in the quarterfinals by Russian Diane Schneider, who I think was world 25 or so. It was a big upset. Like, that was not, I think Sabalenka was even shocked that she lost that game if you see her post-game interviews. This, though, so Andreeva has had some success, but she's younger. She's 19. So she now has 6 singles trophies. She won a silver medal in doubles at the 2024 Paris Olympics. This is going to bump up her WTA ranking. I think she moves to number 6 in those rankings. But what really actually threw me as I was researching this is Havlinska was a qualifier. Like, she's not ranked, and she made it to the final. And they actually were reporting relative to the match that she had to play extra matches to qualify prior to the tournament, and that just the exhaustion, it was so hot in Paris during this tournament, and I think it kind of finally caught up with her.
Serena Williams and Victoria Mboko draw number 3 seeds Nicole Melchar Martinez and Erin Routliffe in the first round
of the HSBC championship. I noticed I did not complete the sentence. They play tomorrow. So by the time you are hearing this, they will have played Serena and Mboko. And so we'll know if they're still going at that point. If they are, I would strongly encourage you find a way to go watch Serena Williams play tennis. This is the first time. So this is their opponent is ranked number 3 in the tournament. So they're quite good. So it'll be interesting to watch that play out. But what I enjoyed was I watched some clips of some interviews Serena's done.
Yep.
This is just like the most goated quote of all time. She goes, quote, "I don't need to win. I've won more than most people in my life." You're just like, true. Facts. She wants her kids to see her play.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's kind of her motivation right now. She said people, of course, asked her if she's going to come back and play singles. She's like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but like, she's like, I'd have to get a lot fitter to be ready for that. Right now, I just want to like enjoy this and get back on the court, see how it goes.
That's really cool. Texas Longhorns win their second consecutive college softball world championship, beating Texas Tech in 2 games of the 3-game best of series.
Yeah, so this is Texas's second consecutive championship over the Red Raiders. So they won last year against the same team. It's their second in program history, so just those last 2 years.
Yep.
But what was cool to me when I was looking into this is that tournament, there are a ton of games that have to get played throughout the World Series. 1.5 million viewers per game.
Wow.
Up 33% year over year.
That's wild.
So you want to talk about just, again, continuing to see momentum through all of these different pockets. I think it's awesome that ESPN partners with the college softball World Series, so you get all of those games aired. I was talking to a coworker last week about how he was like building something, putting something together in his house. He's like, I turned it on and then like I was locked in, right? Yep. And he's like not necessarily a guy that's gonna like sit down and look
for softball.
Yeah. But he's like, it was so good.
Yeah.
So you love to see it. You put it out there, people enjoy watching it.
Exactly. USA women's basketball 3-on-3 team wins the World Cup over the weekend in Warsaw, Poland, giving Team USA their 4th championship.
Yeah, so just shout out to Joyce Edwards, Malaysia Fulwiley, Michaela Williams, and Sarah Williams. This is pretty cool. We don't talk about kind of the FIBA 3v3, so this is very different than Unrivaled. It's half court. But Michaela Williams hit a clutch game-winning shot to beat, I believe it was Australia they were playing for that chip.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
All right.
We got a lot to talk about here. PWHL.
Oh, man.
Player protection, expansion, the whole 9 yards here.
All right. So we're going to start this off by just reviewing so just to back us up. Last week, we started with phase 1, which was the player protection phase.
Yep.
All of the existing teams got to name 3 players to protect. Now, in order to protect those players, they had to be under contract.
Yeah.
So if they weren't under contract, you had to sign them, right? And so there were some signings that were happening as well. And this was why it was, when we talked about this, the salary transparency last week, we said it was really interesting because now everybody knows what everybody's getting paid or was getting paid. And we've wondered how that was going to factor in here.
Yep.
So phase 1, we come out with protected players for the existing teams. I'm going to read through these. I would love at the end of this if you have a perspective on like, who do you think like has the best, like the strongest protection roster, right? That they're kind of thinking about building around. And I guarantee you, before Alex even answers, our bias is going to show here a little bit.
I mean,
but there's a few other options. Okay, so starting, I kind of worked backwards in terms of like how the teams finished in the season, roughly. I'm not perfect. But Montreal, they protected Anne-Renée Debienne, the wall in Montreal, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and Laura Stacey. So you got a goaltender and 2 forwards. At Ottawa, they protected Gwyneth Phillips, Rebecca Leslie, and Rona Savalainen. So you've got a goaltender, a forward, and I believe Savalainen is a defender. I admit I didn't get a chance to look that up to confirm that before we got on recording here. For Boston, they protected Erin Frankel, another goaltender, and Megan Keller and Haley Wynn, both defenders for them. Minnesota protected Maddie Rooney, another goaltender, Taylor Heisey and Kelly Panic, 2 forwards, very different forwards.
Yeah, very different.
New York protected Sarah Fillier, Casey O'Brien, and Christina Kaltunkova, excuse me.
Nice, I think you nailed it.
And so that is quite a bit of forwards and no goaltender, you'll notice. Toronto protected Renata Fast, Reagan Kirk, who's a goaltender, and Ella Shelton. So Fast a forward, Shelton is a defender. Seattle protected Alex Carpenter, Hannah Murphy, and Anna Wilgren. So Carpenter's a forward, Hannah Murphy's a goaltender, Wilgren is a defender. And Vancouver protected forward Sarah Nurse, defender Sophie Jakes, and goaltender Emmerance Mashmeyer.
All right.
What are your thoughts?
I would say on paper, there's two teams that I would outline here, and I think it's Montreal and Minnesota with the two. I mean, you've got ARD, MPP, and Stacy on Montreal, which I think is a fantastic protection. And then Minnesota with Rooney, who, maybe isn't up there with like an ARD, but she is still very solid in net. And then you have, like you said, Heisey and Panic are two different forwards. And I think a few episodes ago, maybe I said that Panic is not necessarily, I mean, she scored a lot of points this year. She maybe isn't going to score those points every year, but she's kind of like this essence on the team that kind of drives everything there. So I really like that one.
Yeah, I think when I look at this, like I kind of look at the top four, right? The teams that made the playoffs, and I'm like, okay, these kind of make sense. I've got a little bit of a question mark next to Ottawa, but I'll come back to that in a second. Once you go down, you're kind of like, there's at least one where you're like, what?
Yeah.
So like Ella Shelton for Toronto, and Anna Wilgren, frankly, like I feel like they had better options on both of those teams, even in the defender spot.
Yep.
So there's got to be some other intangibles there, maybe that the leadership is looking at. I think Vancouver actually has a really good line there. Like Sarah Nurse, the fact that they got her to re-sign there is awesome. Sophie Jakes, we talked about her. She was nominated as a defender of the year, right? Had a great season for them. And then you notice the trend of like these teams protecting goaltenders.
Yeah, I actually had written down that as a point of emphasis. I think before the protection started, we had talked about do you protect a goalie or not? We were kind of on the fence about it. And then as soon as these protections started coming out, there was a lot of goalies, and we realized very quickly, like if you have someone that is pretty good, like we said, like a Rooney in net at least. You want to hold on to that. It's a known quantity, and then it's taken care of, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, totally agree. One more thing that I'll say on this is I think there were some surprises in lack of protections, right? So I think for Ottawa, it was pretty surprising. There were a lot of people they could have chosen. But Brienne Jenner, their captain since the start of that team 3 years ago, for her to not get protected was pretty shocking. Emily Clark, like the kind of hometown girl for them, like what happened there. Well, not to spoil it, but spoil it, they ended up going to other teams. You had Hilary Knight not protected by Seattle, which again, and then you had Daryl Watts not protected by Toronto. Well, lo and behold, all of those players ended up getting picked up in this next phase. So, something really interesting, and it's going to feed a little bit of that's going to feed into the next part of our conversation here, as we had more moves made as we moved into phase 2. So phase 2, again, just to remind our listeners, now the existing teams had their 3 protects. One point of note I want to make is that any players who were under current contract with the existing teams, those contracts still existed. Okay. But what the protection did was they said to the expansion teams, you cannot have these players. They are under contract with us. They are not available. Right. That meant that players with existing contracts then could get picked up by the other teams, or they would, if they had an expiring contract, they had to get re-signed. But the contract would go with the player. Right. Okay. So we move to phase 2. Now the expansion teams have the task of signing 5 players. They had to exit this phase with 5 players on their roster. So Alex is going to take us through Detroit and Hamilton. I'm going to take us through San Jose and Vegas. And then I think we'll talk through some of the news that came out today in the shuffle here. I've got some thoughts on it. I'm sure you do too.
I think we'll just kind of read through these for the most part pretty quickly. Detroit picked up Daryl Watts, forward out of Toronto, on what I believe is the first 4-year deal in the PWHL ever.
Yes, and it was an EFO. So she had to accept that offer when it was given to her.
Kayla Barnes, defender out of Seattle, on a 3-year deal. Hannah Bilka, forward out of Seattle, on a 2-year deal. Britta Curl-Salemi, forward out of Minnesota, on a 3-year deal. And Jessie Comfer, forward Toronto, on a 3-year deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve my commentary for a little.
All right.
I think
there's a little secret move there with Detroit that we will talk about later here.
We're gonna get there.
All right. Hamilton picked up Brianne Jenner, forward out of Ottawa, on a 3-year deal, like we talked about. Fun fact: she is from Oakville, Ontario, which is 25 minutes from Hamilton. So she's going home.
Okay, that's nice. Just like Chris Barr.
Yeah. Kayla Osborne, goalie out of New York, on a 3-year deal. Alina, is it Mueller? There's a new out there. Forward out of Boston on a 3-year deal. Nicole Gosling, defender out of Montreal, on a 3-year deal. And Emily Clark, forward out of Ottawa, on a 2-year deal.
Man, before I get into my teams, I just got to say, this is scary already.
Yeah.
Both of these teams.
Detroit is very scary.
So is Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like, you have some very strong forwards plus a really good goaltender that wasn't protected by New York.
Yep.
Right. And then Nicole Gosling is up for Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Coming out of Montreal. She just won a Walter Cup. Like, I don't know. That's tough. And then, Detroit, also very scary. Interesting, like, balance of teams, right? You've got just one from Minnesota, one from Boston on this side of the house, right? But a lot from Toronto, Seattle, Ottawa, across these two. One from New York, one from Montreal too. Okay, we'll share our thoughts in a second. Because it all
come together.
Okay. So San Jose, this is where Troy Ryan took the head coaching job. He's playing that dual role of GM and head coach. San Jose signed Kristen O'Neill from New York, forward from New York, to a two-year EFO. So she was one of the other players to receive that expansion franchise offer, which you again had to accept. Rory Gilday. Coming from Ottawa, defender on a 2-year standard deal. Ann Chakowski from New York, so another siren forward on a 2-year standard deal. Corinne Schrader, goaltender in Seattle, played a lot of, I think ended up playing a lot of backup to Hannah Murphy. Like, what I understand, didn't really fit in there very well. Signs a 2-year deal. And then I saw late breaking that Maddie Wheeler, I believe, is who was signed in that 5th spot. So again, this is literally it was coming out as today. We were prepping for this. So they have their 5, little bit of like a grab bag, like no names that you're really like, ooh, that player. I think Kristen O'Neill is a solid choice for them. You want to get that goaltender, so I understand Schrader, and I think it's solid. It's not like not a
standout,
but we'll see how it goes for them in the draft as well. Okay, moving on to Vegas. Apparently, everybody's new favorite team to hate. If you're on PWHL threads,
is it because of the colors?
I think it's
mostly the color.
I think it's the whatever association people think that they have with the Golden Knights.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see.
And that's not going great.
Yeah, it's not.
Right now.
You're going to play in the same building.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay. So Vegas signed. They took a while to get going.
Yeah.
First of all, we were seeing announcements from all these other teams, and it was like, Vegas.
Even at midday today, I was like, are they doing anything? Do they realize they're on the clock?
The poke it with the stick.
Yeah,
meme?
just like do something.
Do something. So they did a little mini defense sweep, and by mini I mean Minnesota. They took our rook, Kendall Cooper from Minnesota, 2-year deal, and Mae Batherson. These two have paired together multiple times.
Yeah.
They're young talent, pretty solid. It's kind of interesting. Maybe they decided to go together. I don't know. They signed Haley Skimura, forward from Montreal, and Aaron Ambrose, defender from Montreal. Both to standard deals.
Pairing everyone up here.
Yes. And then they extended an EFO to Captain America, Hilary
Knight.
And then promptly traded her to Detroit.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to technically have her. They have her now.
Yes.
And then will be traded before the
draft. Because what Vegas is going to get in exchange for her is a first round draft pick, or Detroit's first round draft pick.
Yeah.
So
tell us why would they do it this way?
Okay. So from what we can tell, what happened was Hilary Knight reportedly wanted to go play in Detroit.
Yes.
I don't know. I have not seen anything from her on that, but that is what's being reported by AP News. They could not extend an EFO to her because they had extended one to Daryl Watts.
Yep.
And so in order to get her there, she wanted an EFO, I believe. There must have been some back channeling that happened that said, hey, Vegas, you haven't extended your EFO because you're sitting on your thumbs over here. Can you do this? I don't actually know how it went down. Yeah. But that's what happened. And then the way that what they're trying to do is get Hilary, in my perspective, get Hilary the money she's due. Yeah. Right? Get her on the contract that she deserves. But get her to the team that she wants to play for. Yeah. Right? And I'm sure I also heard reportedly that she did not want to play in Vegas.
Okay.
Now, a couple of things. There were no rules broken in doing this. Yeah. I want to be really clear because I've seen a lot of stuff where they're like, they broke the rules. They did not break the rules. This is very legit. Yeah. This happens all the time. I actually find it really interesting, and it's kind of a wrinkle that I hadn't thought of to trade for draft picks.
Anybody talk about that possibility?
But why not?
Yeah.
Right. The other thing that I want our listeners or folks to keep in mind is the main intention behind this draft process was player choice.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of insight into what the players were thinking as they were going through this. But I've seen some commentary already that the league is intentionally harming Seattle, or the league is rigging this to XYZ, fill in the blank, right? Obviously, this is all speculation. It's fans being upset because they didn't get their player or their player left or whatever. We are all making assumptions about what these players actually wanted. At the end of the day, this is their job.
Yep.
They want to get paid. I think Hilary Knight, of all players here, especially in the States, but internationally in hockey, we should be able to understand that she has battled and fought for the right to get her bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we like to say. And she saw an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And while that might suck if you're a Seattle fan, I feel you. Seattle didn't protect her.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They weren't willing to pay her what she wanted, is the way that I read that. And she left.
Yep. I think the interesting thing here is going to be, how is Detroit going to handle their salary cap?
Totally.
I have not looked up the numbers behind who they've picked up already, but they might have blown it all already.
Yeah. And I think that's a very, very valid point. You have some very strong names on that list.
And you're giving up a draft spot.
And you're giving
someone who you would pay potentially a little bit
tier,
less.
right? So they're gambling a little bit. I think the other thing to note in this is like there is some gambling going on. We talked about this a few episodes ago, but on some older players, right?
Yeah.
Hilary Knight being one of them, MPP being another one, right? Where they decided to keep him. I'm not saying that's the wrong move. I'm just a little surprised by it. Now, we didn't see like Kendall Coyne Schofield protected or picked up, even though it was rumored she was going to be going back home to Detroit.
Yep.
She's from Michigan. I do think it's funny. Vegas still doesn't have a goaltender.
Yeah.
So they're banking on the draft, it would seem, unless they can sign someone coming up here in this next free agency period. And there's still, viable. Nicole Hemsley comes to mind from the Frost. So we'll see what happens there. But that was a wild ride.
It was a wild day today, actually, just seeing all that news come across. So.
Yes. So we'll see how that all plays out. I do think the salary cap point is a good one. And it's sort of like, there's a little bit of like, how are you spreading your resources around?
Yeah. Yep.
And you can sort of see with some of these teams, like, Hamilton and Detroit might be kind of banking on these stars or more star players, whereas San Jose, and I honestly can't tell you what the hell Vegas is doing. They now they're coming out of this with 4. They had to fill that spot. So there was some selection process that has happened since then that we don't know the outcome of. Detroit somehow now has 6, right?
Yep.
With Niter going up there. So
Vegas just has a roulette wheel in the GM office. They're spinning.
I think they might.
Trying to figure it out from there.
And I just like want to say, remember, their GM was
it's more like a marketing
flavor,
entertainment style
right?
GM. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. I do have a couple coaching updates for us to go through. So last time we talked about some vacancies. Some of those vacancies are still there. Some have changed since we last talked, and we are still woefully underrepresented. And by we, I mean women behind the bench. So just a few updates here. We did confirm that Kim Weiss will be going to coach in Vegas.
Yep.
Remember, was currently, I don't know if I'm assuming they finished their playoffs because they made this public, the assistant coach for the Colorado Eagles, AHL team, men's team there. Vancouver has since fired Brian Adolski.
All right.
So we have an open slot there. Toronto has an open slot, although it is rumored that Pascal Réaume, which if that name sounds familiar, it should. He's the brother of Manon Réaume, who is the GM in Detroit. Yep. That is not confirmed, but that's the rumor. And then Seattle is still open. Boston has signed Francois Méteau to the head coaching position. He apparently has worked really closely with a bunch of players, but Haley Wynn in particular, who's kind of their young up-and-coming defender that they protected. So that seemed like a good addition. Some of the stuff that I read about Réaume, that people were a little less excited about that. I would just love, there have to be more qualified women to coach here. I did see some folks online make good points in that, what are these PWHL coaches being paid?
Because that might be.
They may be able to make more in the NCAA.
Yep, 100%.
And so they may be unwilling to leave those jobs at this point.
That totally makes sense.
And so that tracks. But
I think the other thing that's really interesting here is that obviously there's four of these teams are brand new, right? So obviously new coaches.
Right.
But I think it's something like half or nearly half of these teams are going to have coaching differences at the start of the season.
Yes.
Right. And even if you're a new team, it's your first coach, it's still a change for the people coming into that team. And so it's going to be interesting to kind of see how it starts out and kind of what these teams look like.
We're going to have like our grace period or our watching period, just like in the W this year, where
it's like
all
5
those
to 10
rosters
games, we'll
were
kind of see what
weird,
happens.
right?
Yeah.
Like, what is this going to be? All right, so let's wrap this section up. Just do a quick refresh on what you can expect next from the expansion process. So we're all leading up to the draft, which is next Wednesday, I believe.
June 17th.
So between now and then, we have 3 more phases to go. We're going to talk about 2 of them right now. So phase 3 starts on June 10th. So that'll be the day that this episode airs through the 12th. This is called the preliminary open signing period. So now all 12 teams can negotiate with any unsigned, unprotected players. So basically, if they're on expiring contracts. So this is where existing contracts now kind of create a barrier.
Yeah.
So if somebody is signed already, like is in the middle of a 2-year contract with the Frost, like they're not available for a conversation right now. In this phase, expansion teams can sign up to 3 more players. So they had to do 5, they can sign up to 3 at this point. Existing teams at this phase can add 3 more protections.
Right.
But they have to be signed to be protected.
Yes.
So if they're on an expiring contract, they're creating a new contract with that player. After the 12th, we have a quick breather. And then phase 4 begins on the 14th through the 15th. And this is the expansion signing period. So now expansion players must build their roster to 10. So depending on what you did in phase 4, you could have 2 spots to fill. You could have 5 spots to fill, right? Eligible players at this phase are anyone not signed and not protected in phase 4 by the existing teams. So it's really anybody currently in the league, right? More or less at that point. And then phase 5, just as a flash forward, is like they have to fill the roster to a certain degree before the draft happens, which is considered phase 6-ish.
5.5, 6.
Yeah, because then the free agency signing period, like open season, is right after the draft on the 19th.
All right. Well,
I'm sure there will be more.
We have,
for next week.
I like how we get a 1-day breather and then everything starts right back up between these phases.
I know.
So
breaking news all the time.
All right, let's dig in to the WNBA. Take a look at some standings here, and we have at the very top your 9-2 Minnesota Lynx. Our bias may show here, but we think it's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. Yeah.
We'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
At number 2, Atlanta, 7-3, looking pretty nice there. Las Vegas Aces also at 7-3.
Will be different by the time you.
Yes.
Some of this will be different by the time you listen, record wise.
Yeah.
And potentially standings too.
Dallas at number 4 at 7-3, and the New York Liberty at 7-4 at number 5.
Yeah, and then just outside looking in, you got Golden State, Indiana. I actually think Toronto jumped up above and Portland dropped down. Those 2 teams just like dance around the middle all season long, which is, I mean, if you're an expansion team, that feels like a win to me. So really strong top 5. I was telling Alex before the show tonight, I was like, it seems very clear to me like who the top 6 teams are.
Yeah.
And who the bottom 4 teams are. And then there's like this weird on
middle,
and off shuffle in the middle of the pack that keeps going back and forth. So we are going to focus today's conversation on those top 5 with like a little bit of Valkyrie sprinkled in because we got to see them live this past week.
Coming up first, though, obviously we are extremely biased. We're from Minnesota. We love the Lynx, but I think we do have to talk about the best team in the league right now. They're currently 9-2, 5-0 in the conference on a 7-game winning streak. And we got to see them in a game, like you said earlier, beat Golden State. It was a very close game, but it was a very good game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the kind of win, honestly, that the Lynx needed on their resume, right? I've got some, I think the list down a little bit lower in my notes, but like, you could make the argument that the Lynx have the record they do because they have not had as competitive or strong of a schedule as some of the other teams. But a win's a win, and you still have to beat all the teams in order to get to a championship, right? So, I think that could be that's where I go to. I think this Golden State game, when we were talking about going to it, I was like, we have to go because it's I think important to sort of see the Lynx challenged in that way. And the fact that they were able to pull it out was amazing. It was a super fun game. The Valkyries, man, are good.
They are very good.
They are very
They are
good.
ballers. They can shoot. Oh my gosh.
They can shoot. And I have the stats right here. So they live and die by the 3-pointer.
Yeah.
So in the league right now, there's a statistic that's like your percentage of points from 3-pointers, right? They're at 43% of their points coming from behind the arc. The next closest team is at 32%.
All right.
So here's the deal. That is a very dangerous game to play because if you're cold, or if you can shut that down. But they move the ball so well. And some of their players were just, Saloon was like lights out from three. She was making contested threes. It was incredible. They also play really good. I thought their rotation on defense was really good. Like, they're very bought in. I love watching Natalie Nakase work on the sideline and do her thing. Top to bottom, that roster is scary, and they will be in the postseason. I'm calling it right now.
I want to go back to it was around episode 17 or 18. We were talking about how crazy people were on Threads talking about
that hasn't changed.
How free agency was going on. Everyone was saying Minnesota has done nothing. Garbage. They've done nothing. We bring it back.
What are they doing?
To what I said in episode 17 or 18. I said, I think this team, I was cautiously optimistic. I said, I think this team will be a sleeper team. I said, let's give them 5 or 10 games and see where they're at. And now we're at game 11 and we're on the top of the league. We're 9-2. And we don't have our best player on the court yet.
Which is wild.
We have Fee coming back soon. Hopefully Dorka at some point.
Hopefully.
And I think they're going to tear through the league if those two are on.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But I think they've also had great help with the kind of people they've subbed in for those two.
Yeah, I mean, I know y'all said, and by y'all I don't mean our listeners, I mean the Threads gang, right? Like, what were you doing in the off season? Well, Natasha Howard is proving to be one of the, if not the best pickup in the off season for a team right now. When you think about just consistency, core, how they flow. Nia Coffey is playing an excellent role of replacement Fee. And their styles are very, very different, but like, she is filling the stat sheet. She's doing everything she needs to do. And like I said, I think in last episode, what a gift to now she'll move to the bench when Fee gets back to starting fitness and things like that. Pulling her off the bench, I'll take it all day.
All day.
So I just think, like, we said this last week, but like, you got to put the league a little bit on notice, because once those two come back, now we talked about, will chemistry be a problem? Maybe, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Fee's ready.
Yeah, and also, like, it's not like Olivia Miles and Natasha Howard have ever played together, and they look fantastic on a court, right? Natasha Howard actually said in an interview, she was asked, like, what's it like to play with Liv? And she was like, it's just amazing when you play with, like, a true point guard. And I laughed at that.
Yeah, that's good.
And some of you know why.
Yeah. Speaking of Olivia Miles, we have said so much about her. And obviously we watch her every week. If you have not watched her play, you have to watch her play. She is, at the current rate, easily, if she stays at this rate, rookie of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Oh, yeah. Not even close.
And I don't normally make bold predictions. If she stays at this rate, she will be the MVP.
Ooh. All right.
A little bold, but
All
I'm
right.
going with it.
All right. I could see it. I could see it. So we got to stay consistent,
healthy,
stay healthy.
stay consistent,
Yeah.
and probably work a little bit on turnovers. But I mean,
yeah.
A point, you're going to have that issue, but just bring it back a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll be good.
Well, and you can see her getting better at that. Actually, I think in the game when we were there on Thursday, I actually saw a few times where she was looking, and I think 6 games ago, she would have thrown the pass and she didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So like Cheryl, it is her and Cheryl's chemistry too is like off the charts. Right.
Yeah.
And like Cheryl is in her ear, coaching her up. Lindsay Whalen is, coaching her up too. Hall of Fame point guard in her own right for the league. So
I don't want to drain that whole game, but I do want to go back to it for a second.
Yeah, let's do it.
The other thing that the Lynx have that is not on this sheet right now is Cheryl Reeve. Yeah. She absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Olivia was the only one scoring points in that first half for the most part.
The adjustments.
And whatever adjustments she decided to make, however she ripped them in the locker room, she is what turned that game around for the Lynx.
They were, I think, down at halftime, or it was really close. I mean, it was a close game like the whole way, right? Cheryl just like walked off the court by herself.
Yes.
Like she was a good 50 feet ahead
Even
of her
the security guards were like,
team. We're supposed to. Yeah. And she was like, looked like she was deep in thought.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to do to sort of right the ship here? Right. Yep. Yes. And we saw that too. Like they had a close game on Saturday against the Seattle Storm, who frankly aren't that good.
Yeah.
It was close at half. They won it by 20 points.
Yeah.
So like she knows how to get. Courtney said in the halftime interview of that game, like we're about to get ripped in the locker room, but like they know.
Yeah.
Like Cheryl sets that standard. She's I agree. Okay, couple more things on the Lynx, and then I do want to turn our attention to some of the other teams here. I think they've got a really tough road ahead. We said, I think they've played some of the lower bottom of the table teams to start the season. Now they do have some quality wins. They beat Dallas in Dallas.
Yep.
They beat Atlanta. They kind of split that, right? Yeah, Atlanta beat them first, and then they beat them back. And then they beat the Valkyries, right? So if you're talking about in that top 6, they have 3 wins against top 6 teams, which is good. But they still have to play these top 5 teams. So when I say 5, we've got Atlanta, Dallas, Aces, Valks, and Liberty. So like below them in the standings. They got to play Atlanta one more time. They've got to play Dallas twice. They'll play Dallas actually the night before you hear this episode. Mm-hmm. They have to play the Aces 3 times. They have to play the Valkyries 2 more times. They have to play the Liberty 3 times, right? They have to play the Fever 3 times. And like the Fever are in the middle of the table right now, but they're a tough game, right? And so I just don't. They are really going to have to surge and like kind of continue that momentum. But I go back to like when they are on and they are playing the way that they can play, which according to some is boring.
Yeah.
You can't beat them.
Yeah.
Right. So talked a little bit about Minnesota. They're, top 5 in all major statistical categories. Their next 5 games go like this. Dallas, they'll have played the night before you hear this. Then they play Vegas on Saturday. Then they play Portland, which toss up. They're also tough. They can be tough, right? Then they play the Sparks, who the Sparks should be tough. They haven't been tough yet, but maybe they're finding their groove. And then they have to play Golden State.
Yeah, that's a wild
tough
schedule.
Run right there. So we're going to be watching that for the Lynx.
For sure.
And it's also interesting to think about when does Fee, and I don't know anything about Dorca's timing right now, but like when does Fee come back into this fold? Moving down the table, we move to Atlanta. They have, Ryan Howard. She is in the top 5 in threes made so far this year, in steals. Alicia Gray, 6th in points, so she's just out of that top 5. Ryan Howard is sitting in 10th in points. They've got some good scoring between the two of them. Jordan Canada is top 5 in steals and assists so far this season.
I actually looked tonight. Ryan Howard and Jordan Canada are 1-2 in the league right
now.
Yeah. Crazy.
They have the pieces. Yeah. They just have to kind of, in my view, Atlanta has to kind of get out of their own way. They've got Angel Reese, who leads the league in rebounding, right? They just kind of have to get out of their own way. I've seen them sort of not implode, but like just not play on.
Yeah. Yep.
Their next 5, they play Chicago, they play New York, they play Toronto, and then they have to play Indiana twice. And I'm just going to tell you, besides Chicago in this lineup, that is not easy right there.
Yeah.
So Atlanta's got potentially some challenges here on the horizon. Then we move on to Vegas, right? Defending champions, reigning MVP A'ja Wilson. She's averaging 25 points a game, 2.3 blocks. She's outstanding, right? But we know that. They are top 5 as a team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, field goal percentage, three-point field goal percentage. Like they're kind of like the Lynx, right? Their stats are out of this world. Up next for them is Seattle, Portland. They're playing Seattle actually right now. Portland, Minnesota, then Dallas, then Phoenix. That feels
that's an
outside of Minnesota
schedule.
Yeah, Minnesota and Dallas. Like I would be looking at that just like I'm looking at Dallas and the Aces as a Lynx fan and saying, if I can split this, I feel okay, right?
I would say if you kind of say I can take Seattle, Portland, Portland and Phoenix, and then split. Yeah, Minnesota.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Split those two, then you're good.
So that'll be interesting to watch. Moving on to Dallas, right? We've got Minnesota again, Phoenix, Portland, then Vegas, then Golden State. That is a tough.
That's tough.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Right there. And then I didn't check, but if they play Portland in that game, that's also tough.
Yeah.
I think we have the benefit. We get to play Portland at home.
Yep.
I would not want to go into that fire pit.
Yeah.
Dallas, interestingly enough, top of the league in assists per game. You actually look at the games with the most assists. They list a top 5. They're 3 of the 5.
Okay.
So they share the ball really, really well, right? They're decent in field goal percentage.
All those point guards.
It's all those guards, man. All those guards. Somehow it's working out.
It's working out.
And then they actually have one of the stronger mid-range games. So Minnesota leads the league in mid-range points as a percentage of their total points. They get about 12% of their points from the mid-range. So you think about, again, the guards, right? Is a big part of that for them. And then rounding out our top 5 here, we've got the Liberty. And frankly, y'all, the Liberty, in my book, have the most room to surge in these next 5 games. They play Connecticut. Then they play Atlanta, so that's a tough game, right? But then Washington, Chicago, Washington.
Okay.
And so I'm like, the Liberty should come out of this next 5-game series with at least 4 wins. If they don't, like...
The only thing better is if they also played Seattle at that point.
Right, yeah. Or maybe Phoenix.
Yes.
So I think of the 5 right now where they sit, I think the Liberty have the most room to move up in those standings. And then what's interesting, right, is you've got Atlanta and the Liberty in the East, and then 3 other teams are in the West, and they all still have to play each other in this next 5-game series. So it's going to be a real test, I think, between Minnesota, Las Vegas, and Dallas to see kind of who reigns supreme there. And we've seen maybe some chinks in the armor from Dallas's perspective, right? But they may be settling into their groove.
Yeah.
I love seeing Jess Shepard having a balling out down there.
I think New York is kind of, like you said, they have the most room to kind of surge. They're kind of like hiding back, not being almost like not noticeable for what team they are, and they're gonna suddenly surge here and be in the top 3 suddenly.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, they're just like lurking in the background, and then all of a sudden they're gonna be at the top of the league.
Yep.
So most of these games, I think the next 4 games for all these teams are Commissioner Cups games.
Yep.
So you're still trying to win points. There's donations that are going to charities as a result of those points. But the top team in the West, top team in the East will end up playing each other at the end of June for the Commissioner's Cup. My prediction, Liberty versus Lynx.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. This will be the Lynx's third
time in the championship.
Yeah, if they make it.
So I think that's where we're headed. The top team out of that gets home court advantage. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But that's my bold prediction.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move it on. We're going to talk U.S. Women's National Team. And can I just say, Brazil bringing 31,000 to a friendly.
I know.
Insane.
I know. I actually, I do kind of want to start there, right? Like, I think the atmosphere of that game, the, hunger. We talk a lot about the leagues here in the States, but we have also talked quite a bit about, the growth of the game globally. And while soccer is very much a global game, women's football has been sort of well behind the men's counterparts in most countries outside of the US until very, very recently. And so I'm getting goosebumps right now. I love seeing the passion that these fans have for this women's team, right? And I love seeing this as we gear up for the World Cup next year, because I think you are going to see packed stadiums, people wanting to get out and watch these players. And if the leagues sort of play their cards right as far as exposure ongoing, right? We'll talk a little bit about the NWSL's marketing campaign through the World Cup, the Men's World Cup that's happening, starts the end of this week. I just think it could be a real unique experience in terms of Women's World Cup. So kudos to Brazil. Kudos to the fans. And you know what? We needed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's the deal. Us U.S. Women's National Team fans are very uncomfortable with losing games.
Yes.
We talked about this in the Japan series, right? We lost that game. You kind of are like, oh my gosh, hair on fire, everyone.
Wheels are falling off.
We can't play soccer anymore. Get out of here. I don't feel that way coming off of this game. I think there was, if you were to go rewatch the game, the first 15 minutes of that game were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The fans were nuts. You could tell that the US was rattled.
Yeah.
You could tell that they were not prepared the way that they needed to be for that environment. And they were not prepared for how much that would fuel Brazil.
Yeah.
Emma Hayes is a genius.
Yes.
Because she's there's a great, I so encourage everybody to, maybe we'll repost it on our stories or something, but the speech she gave after the game, she's like, this is a mock. It's not a real game. And that changes how you should feel about this result.
Yeah.
We are not going home. In fact, we get to turn around and play these guys again on Tuesday.
Yep.
Right? And I have some other quotes that I'll read out here, but this game was, I wrote here, exactly what I imagine Hayes was looking for to test her team.
Yep.
It was loud. Brazil was physical. There were no breaks that went the US's way, right? They didn't get the bounces in front of net. They had a lot of opportunity, but just it didn't fall for them.
Yeah, it's really interesting how she's kind of manufactured this run up to the World Cup in the way that she has. It's been absolutely brilliant with the Japan series, and now this one, it's absolutely exactly what's needed in that run up.
And the question she was wondering, and I talked about this last week, was could we stay disciplined?
Yeah.
And they could not.
Yeah.
Right? They could not stay disciplined. They could not stay organized. The 2 goals that Brazil scored in very quick succession were you do not see goals like that scored on the US, right? They were defensive breakdowns, not being astute off of a throw in, right? And knowing where your mark is, like just stuff where they were rattled. A couple quotes from her. How do we take 15 minutes of madness and effing contain it?
Yeah.
How do you take that and put a lid on it and say, goldfish memory, move on?
Yep.
Right? And she noticed that like they couldn't, they let it keep getting to them. And I'll talk about that in just a second. And then the other one she said, I love this woman. Quote, I can assure you that we will be better for what happened here today. I am glad that we have felt this.
Yeah.
And you think about like the difference in a coach after a game like that who goes in the locker room, goes into the huddle, says like, well, we lost. And Emma is literally telling these women, this is fuel.
Yeah.
This is part of the plan.
Yeah.
It is okay that this happened now.
Well, yeah, and you could have a coach like you said, yeah, we lost, or a coach that could go, we lost, you all are bad.
What are you doing?
Yeah, right.
So I keep going to her genius. I wanted to look up like how have they prepared in the past, and I just feel like she, to your point, talking about the Japan series and stuff, like she has chosen really difficult opponents.
Yeah.
Knowing that this team needs to face the best in order to not, frankly, falter the way they did in the last World Cup. They did not play well in the 2023 World Cup. So, talking about the play, Soph was great. Soph looks like she never left. She honestly kind of looks almost like better, like more lethal, more free, something like that, right? I can't get enough of that. I don't know what was going on with Trinity Rodman. She was clearly very affected by the physical play, by the atmosphere. I love Trin's energy, but I think we've seen this a few times from a maturity perspective. She has to know when to like interject some of that kind of sassy energy and when to pull it back, right? And I just think we needed her in a different way than the way she decided to show up in that game. And I hope hopefully she's okay too. She did get hurt right at the end of the game, and that back we know has been a problem for her. So we'll see. I got questions about our defense. When we do not have Naomi Girma back there, I don't know what's happening. I do not like the Emily Sonnet, Tierna Davidson pairing. They are too slow. They are both, I want Kennedy Wesley in the back. She's been playing great for San Diego. She had a great showing for the US against Japan. She pairs well with Girma, but like I think they played at Stanford together, like similar style. Put her back there with Tierna. Like I love Sonnet. But I just think we needed something else in that game. Like I said before, both of the goals were really, really sloppy. We're doing this thing, and I know Emma's pushing it, but building out of the back, we have to do it quicker. You can't around with the ball back there as much as we were, especially against a team like Brazil, where they're going to high press, they are going to look to get those turnovers, and then they can convert on those so quickly. My next note here, goalkeeping continues to be a question. We had Mandy McGlynn in goal. I don't think she was horrible. She had some big saves, but we don't have a true number one, I don't think. I will be interested to see if Claudia Dickey starts this next game. Hutton was good. Hutton had a good game. She had a ringer off the crossbar, or I think the goalkeeper actually had to deflect it off the crossbar. It was like a nasty looking dipping shot. But like, why didn't Olivia Moultrie play? She's so on fire right now. Her and Soph have that chemistry from playing at Portland together. I just feel like that was strange. She didn't even get subbed on, right?
I think my question when I was kind of going through our prep here was, do you think Emma kind of put this roster together thinking we'll see how it kind of pans out here, and then we'll kind of swap it up for the second game to kind of go like see what happens.
I do think that, right? I think she's not experimenting as much with the players who come in now, but maybe it is a little bit more of like how do I get the right mix against the right opponent? So let's keep in mind that Brazil plays an incredibly aggressive attacking style of football, whereas Japan is very sit back. I'm gonna kind of sit down and try to get the ball off you and then possess. But they're not always going forward, right? Brazil is like 100 miles an hour go forward.
I kind of wonder, like with any coach for any sport, like what is do you have kind of we want to see how this player reacts with this other player versus this type of team?
Oh, yes.
And like, then we have our sample sizes to say, when we get back to a team like this, we're going to put a different person in or that same person in because they perform well.
100%.
Like how they track all that's really cool.
100%. And then my last note here, Lindsay Heaps looked tired. And she honestly doesn't. This is where it's hard because I love her leadership. I love how she's like the Kelly Panic of like, right. She infuses the field, right. With her presence, the locker room with her presence. She does not do well against these direct play type of teams. She's not that fast. She was getting bodied by some of those Brazilian players, and she's a big, strong girl. And their mission was to like go lean on her. Yeah. And you could tell it was wearing her out. Obviously, she's
I'm wondering, like how tired from full season.
Yes. I think that was definitely a factor. Yeah. So here's what I think. I think we're going to see Dickey in goal in the game tomorrow. So you'll hear this afterwards. You can see if I'm right. I think we're going to see Wesley in that back line. I just don't know why you wouldn't put her back there. I think we're going to see Moultrie in the midfield. I think what's interesting, they're monitoring Rose Lavelle's minutes. She's kind of nursing a little bit or coming back off of injury. So she came in pretty late to the game. Jaden Shaw got some time. She can be good. I didn't see too much from the Thompson sisters. I mean, Giselle kind of did her thing defensively. But again, Brazil plays such a different style that like the way that Giselle pushes forward off the back line, you have to be really careful of that counterattack from them. And then I think we're going to see Swanson. Yeah. I think we'll see her at some point in the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so.
I just don't think Emma said like we don't have enough time to mess around. So like I think we're going to see her on the pitch. I do think we'll win. Yeah,
I think so.
I think
like we said, she's going to rotate that lineup and we're going to see a different energy out of it.
And I do think they had good chances. They had good chances in the second half. They have to, now they know what the environment is like. You kind of like shake that shock off a little bit. Yeah. And what I would love, right, is like you take that learning, you go into the next game and the learning is applied and you see it on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my thought. Okay. So that is that. We will talk about game 2 next week after that's played. Yeah. Even though you'll hear this after it's played.
Yeah. All right, let's move it on here to what to watch. We're going to start out with WNBA. I tried to pick just one game per day here. There's obviously, like we said, it's Commissioner's Cups. There's games on every single day. First one we have Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. on WNBA League Pass. We have New York Liberty versus the Atlanta Dream. I think we just talked about this.
Yes, and I laugh because I'm like, good luck with that, because I saw today that League Pass was
not working well.
Oh,
shoot. So. Friday night we have Toronto versus Washington, 6:30 on Ion.
All right.
Saturday, this is the Minnesota Lynx versus Las Vegas Aces game we talked about, 7 p.m. on CBS.
National broadcast.
And then Sunday we have Atlanta versus Toronto at 2 p.m. on WNBA League Pass.
All right.
We have the U.S. Women's National Team. You will have already watched it by the time you listen to this. So that's the homework that you don't know you have to watch it before you listen to this.
I like that.
Yes.
Oh, the other homework you don't know you have to watch before you listen to this is the HSBC championships.
Yes.
If you want to watch Serena Williams play tennis,
Yes.
she plays her first match on Tuesday, the day before you hear
Yes.
this.
So make sure you have watched that. All right. Women's Elite Rugby. Again, all these are on Women's Sports Network. Saturday, we have the New York Exiles at TC Gemini at 1 p.m. Denver Onyx versus Boston Banshees at 6 p.m. And then on Sunday, Chicago Tempest versus Bay Breakers at 5 p.m. We watched the Denver... I don't remember what game. It was Denver...
Onyx and Chicago Tempest. We watched that for a while last night.
That was a...
grind.
Those girls are strong. Oh my God.
I think we're gonna have to do a rugby segment next week or something.
Yeah.
I still can't figure out quite what the rules are, but what was cool was they had the ref mic'd up.
Yes.
So you could kind of understand a little bit more, like there's different options to select restarts and things like that. And then like, oh my gosh, I honestly, I challenge any professional football player to like go get tackled the way these players are getting tackled with no pads.
I challenge any NFL football player to try and size their legs up with some of these girls' legs.
For real.
Holy smokes.
For real.
I wish I had quads that big.
Good Lord. The kicker on the Denver team, I was like, girl.
Oh, dang. All right. And then LPGA, the Dow Championship at Midland Country Club in Midland, Michigan is this weekend. $3.3 million purse.
Dang.
Yeah. All right. Let's move it into momentum and setbacks. What do you got?
I'll do my setback first. My setback is the national team, right? But I think they're going to convert it into momentum.
Yeah.
Right. I do think that's a setback. I do think they got knocked back on their heels, kind of took one to the mouth and didn't really recover from that punch. But I expect them to rally there. What about you? You got a setback?
I have one. I think I need you to keep me honest. I hope I didn't say this last week. With my memory, I might have. But I said the NWSL pause for the World Cup.
Oh, you didn't say that.
Like we said, we talked about last week, like who's it going to hurt? Who's it going to help? It's just kind of a bummer to not have soccer on all week.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it'll be interesting. So over this weekend, we've obviously only talked about the U.S. women's national team, but almost all European national teams were playing because there's qualifying games going on for them. So like it's there if you want to watch it. We're hoping to talk a little bit more about it maybe next week, but the NWSL is sort of using the Men's World Cup, which that hasn't started as of now, as a little bit of a marketing vehicle for the league.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see. Plus, I'm just going to be interested to see how the World Cup goes down, because it seems like it's off to not a great start
right now.
So like maybe that'll fill a little bit of the void, but yeah, definitely miss seeing those teams out there. And it's going to be a long June before we see them.
It'll be a long
again.
one. Momentum? I think mine, I'm going to go because you're almost in bed. Mine is Nelly Korda. That was a really fun round to watch. She's great. Literally, she has all the momentum behind her right now with her wins.
She has a really incredible short game was what I was noticing. Like her approach game is, I mean, in her drive, she didn't miss a fairway when we were watching her. So I had PWHL, Detroit, and Hamilton. I felt like their pickups in this expansion process were really, really good. I do think your salary cap comment is important. The other one that people are going to be annoyed by, but like I think the Lynx have momentum.
They have
a
lot
now.
of momentum.
And then I also, Serena just bringing eyeballs back to women's tennis in a way
that'll be
that
fun to watch.
we haven't seen in a while, right? Not to say that, the other stars aren't holding attention there, but I love the momentum of the mom back in action.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Mama goat.
All right.
He tried not to smile at that.
You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Instagram at RTG_pod. Same for Threads. Raising the Game podcast on Substack, rtgpod.com, and raisingthegamepod@gmail.com.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, share.
Do all the things
whatever,
you're supposed
comment,
to do. Something like that.
Yeah. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of it.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.